Friends, we'll see how we go with this story. I'm pretty sure I told it over the years. If I did, tell me. The story of Itche the Shiker. It's one of the earliest stories that were publicized about the Rebbe. And it appears in this, this early book, 1972, by the Biel's father, the Pfeller Khan. Now, of course, as you know, there are, many books of stories of our Rebbe, but obviously in the early days, there were none. If I'm not mistaken, this is the first book, the first sefer of stories that traces all the Rebbeim that has a section on the Rebbe. And that's because Pfeller Khan had actually this story, he himself heard firsthand. We'll begin the story today. Do you know the story or not? Itche the Shiker. Anyway, if you haven't, it's worth repeating, and certainly for to upload it for others to listen. So the Pfeller Khan from Fachabad says as follows: the following was told to me by Rabbi Friedman, who related to Pfeller Khan as follows. The Rosh Yeshiva of the renowned Yeshiva Chaya Olam, which I think is in Yerushalayim, and we could actually research and find his name, but I think out of respect for him, he doesn't. But anyway, so this Rosh Yeshiva suffered for many years from his legs, from his feet, his legs, and his illness intensified such that he was bedridden. And moreover, it came to a point that the doctor said that one of his legs had to be amputated and possibly the second leg as well. Now, the family of this Rosh Yeshiva were all B'nai Torah, scholars, Yirei Shamayim, and God-fearing. In 1954, this is one of the earliest stories, in 1954, so this Rosh Yeshiva married his son. And to the Chasana, this labeled Friedman was there at the wedding. And to the Chasana came many Talmidei Chachamim and B'nai Torah. And the father of the Chassan, the Rosh Yeshiva, of course, requested that they take him on his bed to the Chassan. All of the guests were very joyous, especially, and they bringing Simcha Chassan and Kala, words of Torah were shared. And it was a wonderful Simcha. Now the Rosh Yeshiva, the father of the Chassan, the Rosh Yeshiva of the Yeshiva Chaya Olam, requested that he too wants to speak. But since he's very weak and bedridden, he's asking that there be absolute silence so that he can say what he wants to say. Of course, immediately the whole Zal, the whole hall, fell silent, and the Rosh Yeshiva begins to relate as follows. When I was a young man, I learned in the yeshiva in Shtutzin. This is in Russia. And we were 30 Bochrim, and we learned in the shul. Now in that town, in that city, there lived a fellow, a Shiker, who was known by everybody in the town as Itche the Shiker. He would drink alcohol in abundance, then he would sleep. And when he would get up, he would drink again, and so it continued. Where he lived, nobody knew, and nobody cared. All the children of the town, of course, knew him well, and they would play with him, make sport of him. Most of the time, each of the Shiker was in the shul, spent his time in the shul where the Bochrim learned. One winter night, we were sitting and learning, and Itche, as was customary, is lying on one of the benches and sleeping. All of a sudden, a wagon driver bursts into the shul. He's all in a state of panic and fear. And he says to us, to the Bochrim, I'm traveling with a wagon full of merchandise. And the wagon is turned over with all of the merchandise. And the horse lies and the straps trapped in the straps. Please help me to straighten, to lift the wagon. My horse is in danger of strangulation, of suffocating. Please, Bochrim, young men, come help me to lift up the wagon to save my horse. I can't do this alone. Now we, the Bochrim, began to debate if it's permissible for us to interrupt our Torah study for this. At the conclusion of our discussion, we came to the conclusion that Bittul Torah, stopping to learn Torah, is more serious, and we didn't go. And we told him no. The poor wagon driver left in Yiddish, in Hebrew, Mar Nefesh, and bittered, and we continued to learn. All of a sudden, from the back of the shul, Itche wakes up, and he says, Bochrim, go immediately and help this Jew, that his horse shouldn't be strangled. And if you don't go, you won't be able to walk on your legs, chas v'shalom. I said to him, Rosh Hashiva continues laughingly, Itche, when did you become a pesach? When did you become an authority in halacha? He didn't answer anything. Half an hour later, the wagon driver returns, pleading that we should come and help him. Because he's gone around asking others for help and didn't find. Again, we debated whether it's permissible and it's appropriate to stop our study of Torah to help him. And now we came to the conclusion that according to Allah, it's permissible. Perhaps because there was nobody else. Whatever their reasoning was, we went, but it was too late. The horse lay still without the breath of life on the ground. Oh, we get his name now. The next day, Itche came and asked, where's Chaim Chaiko? That's the Rosh Hashiva. Rosh Hashiva of the Yeshiva Chaya Ilam, his first name was Chaim Chaiko. He knew us all by name. Now, I wasn't there in the shul when he asked. When I came, my friend said to me, Itche asked about you. No, so I went over to Itche and I said, was is Itche? Was willst du? What do you want? He said to me, listen, I have a request of you, Chaim Chaiko. Tonight, I'm leaving this world. Tonight I die. And I want you to come to my place, my home, and I want you to be there when my soul leaves, my neshama leaves. I started to laugh, but he says, please. So I said to him, where do you live? So he said to me, the edge of the town, there's a small, run-down, lapidated little hut, and that serves as my dwelling place. No, that night I said to myself, no, what? No, what's going to happen already? I'm going to learn anyway, so I'll learn there. So I took with me my Gemara, and I went as he directed me. When I came there, I found Itche lying, sleeping on boards. I opened my Gemara and I started to learn. I sat in a broken box that served as a chair. A few hours passed and I decided, and I'm thinking, what am I doing here? Is he making me crazy? I'm going. The moment I got up, I hear Itche say to me, don't go, stay here. At exactly 4 a.m., my neshama, I will die. And then he said to me, and I have another request. Please request of the Chevra Kadisha to bury me next to, and he identified where it was, And this was a Gaon and a tzaddik that was buried in the cemetery of this town. I said to him, Itche, what are you speaking Yiddish? You don't put on film, and you want to be buried next to this tzaddik, because that's what we all assume. And Itche said to me, I don't put on film. There in the corner is a little box, and you will see my tefillin. I went to the box and I opened it. And to my great surprise, and friends, this will stop here and continue the story tomorrow. Got to come back.